All right, good afternoon, everybody. Today is Wednesday, November 13th, 2024. It is 1 o'clock. Call to order. Let's see, roll call. We have Bill Skorek, Connie Clifford, Jeff Byerly. Here, Becky Carrier. Half here. 100% here. Chris Bridges is here, and we've got our council liaison. Hello, Richard Wells. Thank you. I need approval for the meeting agenda today. I need a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll make that motion.
All in favor? I need a motion to approve the minutes from the board meeting from October 9th.
I'll make that motion.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Announcements. So want to make a quick announcement. So since I'm the lucky one who gets to do the meetings every month and I get to rewatch the video of all of us, we are having more of a consistent tendency to kind of get off topic in our meetings. So if we could just be cognizant of that and try to stay focused on the meeting and the topics on the agenda, that would make this go faster and much easier when I'm having to rewatch do the minutes. So I just want to make that announcement. So just do our best there. Okay, first, public communications. This is the providing opportunities for public comment. I always start with the Zoom, and I see Jane. You're the only one I see that's on Zoom right now. Jane, hi, good afternoon, Jane. Do you have a comment?
Good afternoon. No, not at this time.
Okay, thanks. And we have nothing.
I'd like to bring up that we need to drive a little safer now because it's getting dark. We need to wear brighter colors if we're gonna be out walking and riding because of basically our lack of lighting out here. And we like it that way. So let's try to be safe this winter.
Thanks, Jim. Okay, old business, ARPA Parks Board request and the walking path. We asked for that in our budget presentation. I know that council working on budget right now. That's up to the hands of council to see if they're gonna fund that for us. So we'll just wait for that.
Can I ask how much the ask was?
Yeah, so the ask, we had two different asks for the walking path. One was by volunteers and one was for a company to come in and do it. For volunteers to do it, the cost would be about $20,000, and for a company to come in and do it, it'd be about $60,000. So we asked for the $20,000 and have volunteers to put it in. Any other questions? No, okay. Basketball courts. So we are still in the process of purchasing the backboards for the basketball courts. Jeff Byerly is assisting us with that. We're not in a big hurry right now. Nobody's outside playing basketball in this weather, or if they are, God bless them. But anyway, so we'll get that and have that going. It's still out there, but I think the last time Jeff and I spoke, it looks like it's going to be costing the foundation a little bit more money than we initially anticipated. I think the foundation authorized $1,000 total, and it looks like we're going to be above that, probably by double. So we'll do our best to get something in that's cost effective, but that's going to last a little longer. But we're still working on that. Anybody have any questions on that?
Drove by late one night and the lights were on.
Oh,
Basketball court, so that was exciting.
that is exciting. Great. Okay, number 3, Parks Board bylaws. So the last time we spoke about this, Becky, you had made a comment that you were under the impression, if you will, that possibly the city was going toward one bylaw for all the boards.
Yes, and I have since
That's
spoken to
confirmed.
Frank,
Yeah.
and he has confirmed with me that they are coming out with a template, and his advice was that we just stop everything for the moment.
That's great. That's perfectly fine. What I'll do though is I'll just keep it on here. So we're always addressing it. So we're not forgetting that we are going to be doing bylaws, but I'm sure it's going to be happening regardless. But a template's a really good idea.
It is.
So, thank you for that. On that. Budget proposal, well, that goes back to the walking path. So we're just waiting, to hear. I did, and I sent you guys the email that I sent out. So I do want to talk about this a little bit. So I did watch the budget study session. I don't know if anybody watched that. It was, the recording or the live budget study session that was done on Thursday. And Richard, you might be able to correct me if I misspeak, but, so basically it's for the mayor and the council to talk about priorities after all the presentations. And when it came to parks, there was a lot of misinformation out there. And so I sent an email to council and to the administration, just clarifying some of that confusion. I forwarded all of you that email that I sent, because I wanted you all to understand. They weren't quite sure why we were asking for a 25% increase in the parks and maintenance, parks maintenance and operation budget. So I clarified that. There was some misinformation on what the foundation can and can't do and what we've done in the past. So I clarified that. I clarified the summer fun program that the city used to do and why that ceased and how that we tried to bring that back and what didn't work in the past. And one other thing, I'm going off my memory, and there was one other.
It's an open email.
I can open it too.
Flyers.
The park, thank you, the flyers. You know, that the money came from LTAC and that was seed money to the foundation, and it's hotels and motels with some to the convention center. But the fact that we're not ever going to get money from them again, and that's why we asked for the funding from the city to also increase distribution to the library, the city offices, the CIC, and all other spaces. So there was some clarification on that too. So hopefully I got that in yesterday and before their first budget meeting, and hopefully that clarified some questions and misunderstandings. So hopefully it made a difference. But again, we are just waiting to see what they come up with in regards to the budget. It's going to not be easy, I'm sure, but it's up to council. Do you guys have any questions about that? No? Okay. Number 5, student liaisons. So the last time we were here, Shelley and I were going to talk with the high school and possibly a student or two if they'd be interested in being a Parks Board liaison. And I'm really happy to report that we have a student liaison. His name is Elton Rocky, and he's an amazing youth. We're hoping for one more. We're really wanting a junior. He's a senior. We're hoping for a junior so the junior can stay on and transition to senior and bring another junior on and keep that kind of rotation going. And so he's going to start in January. Shelley and I are going to orient him. What else, Shelley?
What's his name?
Elton
ELTN?
Rocky.
Very impressive young man,
Yeah.
articulate, mindful. We
He's a
asked
stat
questions
student.
and he would process and then speak. And I don't think he'll have any trouble telling us, you know, what he thinks, and he seems to have a lot of relationships and friendships at school. So to be able to bring their opinions forward.
Yeah, he was really excited.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
We talked, the original talks were to bring on more than one to kind of make them feel comfortable and maybe open up a little bit more. Did they just designate 2, or are they just not getting the kids to want to participate? I mean,
That's a great question. So the principal had some ideas on who she thought the students would be good in this role. And he was the one that responded. And so when we interviewed him or talked to him, it was more of just a very informal Q&A. We said, we would like to see a junior. We would like to see somebody as a junior who can, you know, go into a senior and stay on for 2 years and do that type of rotation. Do you have anybody in mind? And he said he did. So, but we haven't gotten a name. But it's only been about a week and a half.
So they're not opposed to having more than one, they're just kind of.
They're not opposed. He thought that was a great idea and so did the school.
Do we know where he's going to go to school next year?
He's running START right now, so he's gonna graduate with his AA here in May. He was looking at the University of Washington.
Is he going to stay in this area?
I don't know.
Because I'm thinking, wouldn't it be better to be able to promote him into a collegiate representative as well, as long as he has an interest in the area?
I think that this role could be bigger, sure. I mean,
And if nothing else,
There's nothing.
by that time, couldn't we just put him, if he has a direct interest in the Ocean Shores area, couldn't we just promote him also into a vacant board seat?
maybe.
I think it's just awesome.
I think
I will
that.
bet I'll bet his dad is Steve Rocky, and Steve is on the school board. So he's been raised with civic awareness and responsibility. I think there couldn't be a better choice.
Yeah, he was great. He had some great questions for us. He was not intimidated. He was asking questions, engaged. He was really excited about having youth representation. So I have a feeling that this will get more students, the more that this gets out there. So I'm really excited.
One of the things that we talked with him about is how to get word out to his peers when we're doing like a park build or a cleanup
Yeah.
project or something like that. And he had some very definite ideas about that.
Yes.
We talked about social media platforms that we're currently not using.
Instagram.
And he's willing to put some energy into that.
He is.
Yeah, so
Yeah, so he's gonna help us.
Will he be at our January meeting?
He is. He'll be here at our January meeting.
Oh, is school allowing him to?
Yeah, so this is the best part. So every other Wednesday, the school is
Oh, I remember you saying that.
out at 12 o'clock. Some correspond with our actual time and day for our meetings, and sometimes it doesn't, but he can zoom in, but he's a running start, so he has a lot of flexibility. But also, the principal at North Beach was really accommodating, and she's like, we'll make this work, how we need to make this work, because they're very excited about it as well.
Cool.
Yeah, Richard.
So on my liaison note, I don't know how to describe, he didn't hire him. It's not an employee, but what's the right word?
Liaison.
Well, what I put down here is student liaison, has been blank hired, has been selected.
Appointed, selected.
That's
Not
the
even
first.
appointed,
Thank you.
There we go. Semantics. Any other questions about the student liaison? Nope, okay. New business, library benches. I'm gonna hand this over to Shelley Johnson and Chris Bridges.
Chris, you want to talk?
I'm following your lead on this.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm waiting for our meeting tomorrow.
Yes, we are meeting tomorrow with Keitha. Reached out to her through email, and weird times around Halloween trying to get together. It was just really tough, but we're with her tomorrow afternoon, and she's excited. She's familiar with the concept of literary benches, and just a reminder of what that is. Our thinking is it would be really cool if the library could record some children's books, and then parents could scan a code and could have their children listen to a story while they're at the park. So it's bringing literacy into the parks. So yeah, she's excited about it. And of course, the question is money. So we'll have to narrow some of that down and get some numbers, but she's like, on board.
So we'll have more
Awesome.
information next month.
That's right.
That's exciting.
It is.
Yeah, I think the sound, is it gonna be over cell phones or?
Yeah,
Pretty cool. I think that could be a really great community involvement too. I mean, just different people, maybe different books, talking, I don't know.
yeah, I think we start with children, and
Yeah.
then I have an
Yeah.
idea. One of my parks is a bird watching park, and then maybe they can record something that's kind of more educational oriented, so that you can identify birds when you're there, bird sounds, things like that. Fishing There's all kinds of directions we could take this.
I wonder if we can use the radio station to make the recordings.
She actually suggested that to me, so that'll be part of our conversation tomorrow.
That'd be nice.
And I don't know if they have any kind of royalty fees they have to pay or anything like that to utilize this. So, you know, that'll be, I'm sure she's gonna come in with a lot of really good information. But I mean, I haven't been to a park except the one in Iceland that had this before, so it's all new to me.
Guess I was gonna ask you if this has ever been done around here, anybody's ran into that. It's an excellent idea.
Uh,
The CIC can really be involved too, especially with the birds and some of the nature aspects, so. Can be.
There you go.
Oh, yeah, that'd be a good tie-in.
Mm-hmm, yeah, for our park, so it's really, I'm super excited, thanks you guys for taking this on.
No, it's Shelley and her.
It's gonna be just the beginning of something fabulous. I know.
All right, anybody have any more questions about the library benches? Well, I have nothing to discuss. Park inspection report, Spinnaker. It's just a feeding ground for the deers. They keep it mowed pretty well. Kind of wet today. Let's see, Chris, you have Emerson.
Emerson looked good. Drove by there on my way here.
Great. Bill, you have the Lions Club and the skate park.
Yeah, the Lions Club, looks great. I noticed the older swing set, not the one that was the new set of playground equipment, but the older one.
Actually,
If you look at the distance from the ground to the swings, about 3.5, 4 feet. So you know how naturally you dig it down. So it either needs to be filled or the chain. So kids can actually get on the swings. I walked up to it, it's like up to here, so.
Oh,
But I don't know who does that. But anyway,
I'll send an email to the admin and they can send it to
and
the
the
Lions Club.
skate park looked good. I mean, the graffiti's painted over, all the utensils are still there, the bathroom's upright, not laying on the ground, so. And the whole area is clean. They keep it up. I think maintain it, which I think is really kind of a neat deal.
You have a little ownership.
They have ownership, exactly right.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Becky, you have Chinook and Gunderson.
I haven't been out to the parks for 2 weeks. I meant to go yesterday, but we had a work crisis. When I was out 2 weeks ago, though, I had noticed that there have been a lot of mud and water tracked into the bathrooms in Chinook. But it had just rained and I meant to go out last night and we had an IT crisis that cut us off at work. And so I didn't make it out there. I'm gonna go right out there today, right after the meeting and see what's up.
I think the cleaning crew is once a week out there, so it might have just been in between.
I saw, gosh, I think it was on Facebook. Somebody, I think you posted it actually on Facebook, the information about dogs eating cigarette butts and
Yeah,
that amount of nicotine could harm a small dog. And I liked that information got out. A couple of people commented on it. I did not see cigarette butts out when I went out 2 weeks ago.
okay, great.
But like I said, I wanted to go back out last night and look. Connie, did you?
Chinook is really being dug up. I mean, I was just there 2 days ago. And of course, the buckets are there, the shovels are there. But right in front of the bench, when you first walk in, the bench on the left-hand side, no exaggeration, there was a hole about this deep.
Oh.
Now, that was the worst. So I don't know what people are letting their dogs do this, if they're not paying attention. It's not the deer doing it.
Right.
But I don't know, do we need a big sign on there or something? It's just that what I hate to see is a little dog go running in there like some do and
Yeah.
walk. And
Or a person.
or
It just happens.
a person, but you know, I expect a person to have more sense. I don't
Yeah.
always expect that out of a dog, but, and my dogs won't go near them. So anyway.
So, when the cigarette butt incidents happened and I had sent an email to administration, Becky Leach had responded saying that she was doing new signage for no digging, don't let your dog dig. But she was gonna add the RCW, because it's actually not allowed to smoke in public places that are municipality owned, like a park. So, she's gonna add that information. All we can do is put a
Stop
sign
it,
up.
but-
No, it's not gonna happen, but all we can do is just peer police, the dog. Type of a cover that is not.
Is there a
gonna-
possibility of getting a camera mounted? Because I know some people who see cameras sometimes behave better and read the signs.
Well, that's part of our budget request with cameras
Right.
at those parks.
That
So
would be-
Chinook, North Bay and the skateboard park. So it might.
Having a sign that says, smile, you're on camera,
Absolutely.
would not hurt my feelings any.
Yeah, it might. I mean, we'll see. But cameras can be great for a lot of reasons. And so prevention is one of them. That's why we want to
Yeah.
put those up. You're right. It's not going to stop it probably 100%, but maybe.
So, honey, you saw the whole, when I go out there today, it's the first bench.
In the large dog park.
Oh, I
Oh,
thought
no. I'm going over
Oh.
in just a few minutes
The first bench.
by the first bench.
In the large.
In where the bench is and and
on the west side.
on the west side,
Okay.
right in the middle of it.
So what I want to do is I want to see, are there more holes? And did that one get covered in at all? So you were just out there 2 days ago.
2 days ago.
Yeah. And it's in the large dog park.
It is.
Okay.
It is.
Yeah, the small.
And we have dogs eating cigarette butts?
They can. And they're very,
I've
toxic.
never heard of that.
When I was a kid, we used to feed them the deer. Whole cigarettes. That was
Why?
a thing. I don't know.
Okay, now we're getting off subject again. All right. So thank you for that. And that was Chinook, Gunderson.
Gunderson was fine.
Great. Jeff of North Bay and Limpet.
Really nothing at Limpet. I went by this morning. There's a little bit of debris down from the storm. North Bay looks good. The restrooms look good. There was a little bit of litter accumulated. I had talked to Scott Anderson about the play area. It got kind of torn up, possibly dug up by dogs. And I filled in some of the worst of the holes, but there's a city maintenance crew had gone by and smoothed it out quite a bit and eating. It looks better than it's looked in a long time. And same with the swings, they get dug out. It would be kind of nice to get a little bit of extra wood chip and some mats, so the wood chip doesn't get scattered.
I was gonna
Swing
suggest the
mats,
mat.
Yeah.
Make a huge difference in wood chips. And that was it. It looked good.
Awesome, thank you so much. Shelley, you have Marine View and Texmar.
And I swung by both this morning to look for any kind of storm debris, and they both looked just fine. Marine View was howling. There's some kind of crazy wind tunnel in there, and the waves were swirling, and the porta potty guy was emptying the porta potty. So that was exciting. Texmar looked good.
Awesome, thank you. Connie, you have Northeast Grand Canal and Southeast Grand.
No, we had talked about possibly having a dog station down at
Mhm.
but what I've noticed is I'm not finding any more packets of poop down
Okay.
there. So people are picking up their dog food down there. But I mean, there's no dog station, but they're at least picking up after themselves. Up at the north end, I'm not noticing anything, but it's something that Jane brought up last month.
Mhm.
And maybe as we go into the spring, we could talk more about this, about trying to get some crews out there to clean up the north end of the canal even. I don't know if it's people.
Clean it up from the
Trash.
litter, oh, because it comes.
Trash.
down to IGA.
It does. There's so much trash.
Okay, yeah.
Going in that, and, we had already talked sort of about, the two boards kind of combining some things once in a while. The water board, and that might be something just to think about for the spring.
Okay, oh, that's a good idea. All right, thank you. Leads us to public comment number 2. So again, anything related to the Parks Board, and it's 3 minutes. And Jane, you're on Zoom, you're up first.
So
I thank you. I just really like hearing about the benches and the new things that may be moving forward for the Parks Department. That's very exciting news. And then just to touch base on the North End Grand Canal, yeah, the garbage is getting worse and worse. Some of it's, well, the majority of it is coming through that ditch that comes through underneath J.K. Lewis there. Excuse me. And yeah, the funny thing, Connie was talking about poop stations and all that. We do have the lovely doggy bag station there at North End Grand Canal, but we seem to have some people visiting the area now that don't bother using the poop bag station. So go figure. But anyways, other than that, no, I just enjoyed the meeting and thank you guys.
Thanks, Jane. Andy, do you have anything?
Do you have any relationship to the new zone park going around the city? 50-mile road around the city? Is that involved?
That's planning commission, but it is, just to answer that though, it is in the Parks Comprehensive Plan. Yes, so that for grant funding and writing, so, yeah. Yeah. Mr. Jim, nothing? Okay. Okay, Richard, you're up on reports. Anything to report from council? You had budget last night for the first time, right?
We talked about budget. We did not talk about any specifics. That's going to be next meeting.
Okay.
I can say as one of 7 council members, I think that your asks are all legitimate, but I'm studying to say, is there enough money for all of the things that we need to buy? And that's a struggle. It's a struggle every budget season. So you've got my support, but if I have to make a choice between, do we need a road grader or do we need a cover over the,
You guys have a hard job and I don't envy you at all. So I get it.
so that's my opinion as one of 7.
Yeah, thank you very much. Public Works Liaison, we just have nothing going on, so there's really nothing to feedback except for those signs that Becky Leach is working on for the dog park. Let's see, me. I've been busy. Let's see, I met with Shelley and I, but we met with the high school and talked about the student liaison and brought the student liaison on board. I reached out to the county public health department. I think you guys might remember that I had talked about this youth third space facilities assessment that the county did. Bill, you might have been gone on that meeting. I'm not sure how long ago it's been that we talked about this, but I had a long conversation with Jessica Molina. She's the representative at the county about this specific survey, number one, and number two, why Ocean Shores wasn't involved in the survey.
Thank you.
And so she actually didn't have an answer for me. And I'm not going to speculate as to why, but we've rectified it. So today, Shelley and I are heading over after this meeting to the high school to help Jessica distribute the survey to get the feedback from the youth. And the survey is basically asking questions specific to the youth. What do you want to see in regards to activities? What do you want to see in regards to, if you had a third space, what does it look like to you? So then the county can assess and help us try to get those spaces going in our community with grants, whatever we want to do, whenever we need to do. But it needs to start with the youth. We need to figure this out. What do you want? How's this going to look? And so go forward from that. So I'm really, really excited about this opportunity. I think that this can catapult into something much bigger than what it is right now for our youth. And that's why I'm really excited about having a student liaison on, because we need that piece to this puzzle to help this, whole picture come into view. So, I've been doing that. Waiting on
That's a
budget.
lot.
It's kind of a lot. This is the Grace Harbor County, Public Health Department. I can see that. I actually have this in PDF format. Would you like me to email that to everybody? Okay, I will do that. All right, that's what I've been up to. Next up, who is Chris?
I'm just waiting for tomorrow to find out more information on the library benches, yeah.
Okay, Bill?
Nothing to report.
Okay. Shelley?
I've been hanging out with you at the school, hanging out at the school. I'm headed over there again today. And also I'll be there tomorrow from 12 to 2. They're on conference week this week, so there's a lot of kids that are going to be milling around. So it's a good chance just to do the survey with them and also just to chat, just connect. And if anybody wants to join me tomorrow from 12 to 2, you're welcome to. Give me a holler.
Jeff?
We've touched on just about all of this stuff, but I met with the mayor and Scott Anderson on the 24th of October. And we went over a bunch of stuff for about an hour. They had questions on the budget, the maintenance and operation was discussed, tried to be straightened out. They had questions, making sure they were understanding it. Sounds like it made it to the council with questions. Generally, the mayor and Scott, supportive of the lights and cameras we talked about in the budget presentation. It seemed like it's a fairly inexpensive, low-hanging fruit. The pickleball was discussed. They're generally in support of that, but it's a big ticket item, and as discussed, might be road grader or pickleball. There was concerns about the Chinook Trail because I think they're concerned that a gravel trail won't be and remain ADA compliant. I had told them I've seen it done before and it can be done, and at some point it would probably be paved. The flyers were discussed in passing, and probably the hotel tax wasn't a way forward on that. The bylaws we've discussed, and it was the same deal. Yes, when the budget is over, they're going to standardize the bylaws for all the committees. Third space was discussed. Interesting aside, why we were left out of the survey, nobody knows. One interesting thing I didn't know is Ocean Shores is getting very close to surpassing Hoquiam as the second largest, most populated city in Grays Harbor.
Really?
Hoquiam is essentially not growing at all, and Ocean Shores is growing slowly but surely. So within a year or two, it'll be the second behind Aberdeen. Interesting piece of data. We should be able to ask, the city should be able to ask Grays for more support, because we'll be the second largest city. We discussed the liaison, the literary benches were discussed, the backboards were discussed at North Beach. We had a little discussion on the North Canal Park. One interesting thing that came up was, what about reaching out to, it needs to be cleaned up. What about reaching out to Defenders of the Coast to see if we could get them to help with an initial cleanup? There was a short discussion of North Bay and making sure how to make sure we don't let any grant opportunities come by in terms of helping that sports field out. That's going to be a very large ticket item, and there's no way the city's going to get it done without it. I think the most interesting interesting thing that came out of it is as I've asked before, what are your biggest priorities? How can the Parks Board help the administration? And Kristen mentioned the Summer Kids program. That's probably one with the mayor. And he mentioned that they might be able to, make some funds available if they could get good value. But he would really like to see some effort made to restart, get going with some sort of summer children's program. And I know I talked to Kristen, she reached out, she had done it before. And I guess we're gonna see if there's some seed money available and see if we can get something done to have a kids program of some sort this coming summer. And I think that's everything.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah. Hopefully we can do something, that's for sure. All right, thank you. And Becky.
On October 17th, I spoke to the mayor. We talked about the bylaws. We also talked about funding sources and what's on tap there. Since the election, I don't have good news. I'm doing policy analysis right now for a think tank, and I've been gathering primary data. It looks pretty much like we're not going to have any granting opportunities because those grants federally are going to be pulled. And a lot is coming down the pike to Washington. There will be no more federal support of education. There will be no more federal support of any type of energy or anything. The financial situation now is very, very bleak. And historically, Grace Harbor has not been at the top of the funding list for the state of Washington. Plus, the state of Washington stands to lose a great deal of money. So those grants that we were looking at, I don't foresee them being offered in the next 5 years.
Okay.
Or anything else, to be very honest with you.
No, just hope that maybe there's something out there. But
And I asked the mayor about, at that time, of course, the election hadn't been finished, but I had already done enough analysis that I was pretty certain that Trump would be elected. And I asked him under what would happen if these sources dried up. And he said that we're not as lucky as we were a few years ago, and the budget is squeezed. There's a lot less money than there was before,
Well,
and
the ARPA funds certainly helped us. That really
Right.
catapulted us, but
yeah, so I don't have a lot of hope right now. Maybe I'll feel better
I
next
don't
month.
think any of us.
okay, let's not get off track.
Yeah.
Okay, so, okay, all right, well, it is what it is. We'll just, if they're available and we can
If-
apply for them, that's
We
great.
have to be poised, and I'm setting up databases right now just to check once a month.
Okay,
Right before the meetings, I'll check to
Great.
see if anything opens up. And I've got a database right now. I only have like 6 entries on it to check, but
okay.
if we see an entry, we need to jump immediately. I have a call in to Scott. I'll volunteer my services. If we find a grant, we'll want to write it that week immediately.
Well, the big RCO grants, in my opinion, like the one that we were talking about for North Bay, the youth facilities, those come every 2 years on the even year. So that's 2026. So we still have some time, but it doesn't matter. It's out of our control. We'll just do what we can.
By chance, do you have the information that you used for the previous grant? Do you have that in a file someplace?
The city might, it wasn't me, it was the city. Yeah, so I'm sure that Scott would have
Scott-
access to
Scott would have
the
that.
city's information.
When he calls me back, I'll ask for that too.
All right, thank you for that. And then Connie. Nothing. Today. All right, so our next meeting is December 11th at 1 o'clock, Wednesday, December 11th at 1 o'clock. It is 1:38. I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second,
I'll second that.
all in favor?
Aye.
Thanks, you guys. Fastest on record, I think.